Have you ever had one of those light bulb moment business ideas? The one you were absolutely sure was a winner, but it just kind of fizzled out? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into the silent graveyard where most of these ideas end up, and, more importantly, how you can make sure yours doesn't join them.
90%. You've heard this number before, right? It's the scary statistic that gets thrown around all the time. But here's the crazy part. That number only counts the businesses that actually got off the ground. The real failure rate, the one that happens in the shadows, is way, way higher.
So yeah, where is this real graveyard? Because it's not in the flashy tech news headlines. The vast majority of failures happen somewhere much, much quieter, long before a single customer ever pays a dime. That's the thing. They're like ghost ships. They're funded by a ton of hope and maybe some personal savings. They sail for just a little while and then they just vanish. No press release, no data, nothing. That's the silent graveyard we're exploring today. So what's the number one cause of death in this idea graveyard? You might think it's the lack of funding or a brilliant idea, but it's not. It's something far more basic. It's a complete and total mismatch with what the market actually wants. Take a look at this. This chart is basically a startup autopsy report. The folks at CB Insights dug through over 100 failed startups to figure out exactly what went wrong. And as you can see, one reason just towers over everything else. 42%. Let that sink in. Nearly half of these companies died because they built a beautiful, elegant solution to a problem nobody really had. It's that classic if you build it, they will come fantasy. And folks, it is a stone-cold killer. And this quote from the team at Treehouse Logic just nails it. They had everything going for them. Great technology, really smart people. But they admitted they fell right into that classic trap. They were so in love with their cool solution, they kind of forgot to check if anyone was actually looking for it. And this happens because of a little psychological trap called founder's bias. It's like you're wearing these rose-colored glasses. You're so pumped about your idea for, say, a Bluetooth-enabled toaster that you just brush off anyone who tells you they're perfectly happy with their regular old toaster. You end up listening to the one person who says, "Cool idea," and you ignore the 10 people who just shrug. That's founder's bias. But, okay, let's say you get past that. Let's say you do find a real market need. Your idea can still get completely sabotaged. And a lot of the time, the call is coming from inside the house. This is what we call the friendly fire problem.
65%. This number is just wild. Research from Harvard's Noam Wasserman showed that a huge majority of startup failures aren't because of the competition or a bad product. Nope. It's people problems. It's conflict between the founders. It's the drama behind the scenes that actually sinks the ship.
And this quote just captures that perfectly. You spend all your time worrying about competitors out there, but really, it's the hidden ticking time bombs of co-founder conflict and mismatched expectations that do the most damage, usually right when things get stressful. So according to Wasserman's research, it all comes down to these three fault lines on any founding team: relationships, roles, and rewards. If you get these three things right, you're building on solid ground. But if you get them wrong, your whole company is built on sand, and it's just waiting to collapse. Okay, on to our third and final pillar. This one is all about the mechanics of making money. And maybe more importantly, just staying alive. Because you can have an amazing product and a dream team, but still go down in flames if your financial engine is fundamentally broken. So this right here, this is one of the most common and deadly mistakes that new entrepreneurs make. They get profit and cash flow confused. See, profit, that's just a theory on a spreadsheet. Cash, that's reality. That's the money in the bank. You can be profitable on paper, but still go bankrupt because you don't have enough actual cash to pay your bills. 82%. That's how many businesses die from this. It's kind of like dying of thirst while you're standing in the middle of a lake. You might have $1 million in sales that are going to come in 90 days from now. But if you can't pay your people tomorrow, you're done. Cash is oxygen. When you're out, you're out.
And these are the specific ways that cash gets mismanaged. Premature scaling, that's like flooring the gas pedal on a car you haven't even finished building yet. Flawed unit economics, that means you're literally losing money on every single customer. And wrong assumptions, well, that's just building a business plan on a fantasy. Okay, so we've diagnosed the three big reasons for failure, which can feel a little grim, I know. So let's flip this around and talk about the solution. This isn't just about what to avoid, it's about a whole new way of thinking, a framework for survival.
And that solution is really embodied by the lean startup methodology. This whole philosophy is the direct antidote to pillar number one, building something nobody wants. Instead of spending years in a secret lab perfecting a product, you build just enough to start learning from real customers, like right now.
At the very heart of this is a really simple but powerful cycle, the build, measure, learn loop. Think of it like the scientific method, but for startups. You're not just building stuff, you're constantly running experiments. You build a small test, you measure what happens in the real world, and then you learn from it. It's all about replacing "I think" with "I know."
And this right here, this is the critical mindset shift. When you're just starting out, your business plan is really just a list of guesses. Your job isn't to stubbornly follow that plan straight into a wall. Your job is to systematically test every single one of those guesses and change course based on what the market is actually telling you. So I'll leave you with this one question. Think about your big idea. What is the one single assumption you're making that, if it turns out to be wrong, would kill your entire business? Find that assumption and then figure out a cheap, fast way you can test it today. Because the fastest way to succeed is actually to fail faster and smarter. And that's how you stay out of the idea graveyard.